right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify or create a couple different part sizes that we can work with. Like I said, I'm going to work with this utility run that kind of runs down here. It's one of the longer trenches. So as I zoom in on it, you can see here that it's up in this left corner of our project. So I'm going to switch over to 3D view, and this is where I'm in the same location here, okay? So looking at this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this conduit here. And I can see when I select that conduit and I look at my properties, so I can go into the properties command here, right? So I have mine docked over here to the left. But when I select on that properties window, I can see here that it shows that it's an 18 by 18 inch beam. And then if I was to click on this one over here, you can see that that's like a 4 foot 7.5 by 2 something, right? So we could use the name of the beam to figure out the size, or what we could do is actually measure this. So because this beam, it's got some points here, I can use the measure command, and I can just go ahead and click on that corner there and that corner there, and I can see that it's 1.5 feet. So that's going to tell me basically 18 inches, right? So if I click here and here, I'm measuring it, and again, just where I picked, it's 1.9, right? Or 1.5. So I know that that is a 18-inch beam, and I also have this structure here that I can measure. So if I use the measure command, I'm going to pick this point here and this point here, and I can see that it's 13.33 feet. And then I can do the same thing, click here and click here, and I can see that's 11.33 feet that way. All right, so basically just getting some information. I'm going to write that information down so I have it, so that I can go ahead into my MSI manager and create a site improvement. So on the utilities tab, I just clicked on MSI manager, and then under site improvements, you can see here, these are all the ones that are part of the project template, the utility project template that we created. We could use these. You can see there's a box pipe, but these are really set up for gravity-based systems. What we want to do is actually create a conduit for our electrical base, or basically a cable-based system that we have here. So I'm going to show you how to do this pretty much from scratch. So I'm going to select site improvements, and I'm going to click on this new utility category. And I'm just going to call it Conduit Banks. All right. And instead of breaking it out per nodes, I can put everything under this one improvement here. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to go and select New Utility Category Object. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll go ahead and call it we'll just call it a box bank 18 by 18. And in this case, it's a rectangular utility line. Click OK to that. And we want to make sure that we choose that it is a cable, not gravity or pressurized. We could tell it that it's concrete, if that's what it is, or PVC, plastic, whatever it happens to be. But the important piece is this here, and you'll notice that it says inside width and inside height. Now, I'm just going to set this to 18. Oops. So let's say 18, and it's inches. So 18 inches. And then my thickness is just going to be 0. So basically, I'm creating the 18 by 18 inch box. We can choose a color. We can do a unit cost and preliminary inspection. So that's pretty much it. That's, we're creating an 18 by 18 inch box, and we would do the same thing for the other size structure. So I would come over here and do the same thing. So if I measure this one from here, oops, let's go down here, and let's go here. Let's see. So if I click there, well, let me show you this while we're here. If I go to view, I'm going to turn off this else site, and that's going to turn off the structures. The beams are on this layer here. So now that I have that, what I can do is see this corner. So I can click now on that corner. So if I come up in here, I can click that corner there, and I can click that corner there. So that's telling me it's 4.625. So I have that one, and I'm doing the same thing here. And that one is going to be 2.78, right? So looks like 2.748, so 2.8 or 2.75. Okay. So I'll just go back to my site improvement manager, site improvements. Under Conduit Bank, we're going to create another conduit object, and we'll call it box bank. And this one's going to be 4.625 by 2.75. It's a rectangular utility line. Again, don't forget cable. Maybe it's a concrete bank. And then our width. So again, our width is the 4.625. Our height, 2.75. And then we'll put thickness of 0. Okay, so that takes care of a couple pipes, and we'll do that on all these because you see we've got different sizes. So probably have to do the same thing here. I'm not going to go through and show you another one, but basically I would measure this and I would create another structure. Now, as far as the junction boxes, I'm going to turn this one on here. And the same thing is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to measure, right? So we're going to measure the size of the structure. So it's 1333. And then by 1133. So this one, instead of a box, I'm just going to repeat this. New category, or new Conduit Bank object. And we're going to call this the vault. And, maybe we do this 13, by 11. In this case, it's a junction box for the cable. And then basically the length and width. So I can come in here, 13.33, and the width being 11.33. Okay, and the thickness is the wall thickness. So if this is a 4-inch, pre-slab vault, then that would be the wall thickness of that vault, right? And that really, again, doesn't really matter. We just want the outer dimensions is what's important to us. Entrance on center, that's fine. We'll leave that the way it is. And then click close. So now that I have a vault and a couple pipes, the next step would be to start creating our networks, dropping in our utility run, converting these objects into utilities. Because these aren't real, inverts and gravity-based structures, we have to do this a little bit different than was shown in the previous videos. If you watch those on creating a utility, storm system, or gravity-based system, this is going to be a little bit different because of what we're trying to do is make sure that we account for the different elevations of these conduits. So you can see that I have a break here. It's not a straight structure to structure run. Here you can see that it's coming down here. So these are all different elevations. I may have the same finished floor slab elevation that I'm trying to get to, but because of all the other conduits, we're running up and down and around so that we don't interfere with other utilities that are going in the ground. So a little bit different approach. And that's what I'm going to step through in the following videos.